Great. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. It's Mamadou here from the ReadLink team. And just going to wait for a little bit until we get some people coming in to the live chat. Let me wave. Great. So yeah, today what we're going to do is have another edition of our ReLink Roundtable, right? And this is where we speak with entrepreneurs who are working on their own business ventures from really just a diverse wide of industries and verticals that we've seen, right? Oftentimes we at ReLink, we meet them because they may have purchased something from our platform and we had like some kind of conversation, and by speaking with them we found like, hey, this is a person with an incredible story that needs to be highlighted. Okay, I see we got some more people coming in. Hello everybody. Great. So before I bring on today's speaker, she's someone we actually met a little while ago last year, and she's very incredible. Her name is Charverle Dunlap Mwamba, and she's a perfumer. And that's, somebody who takes the time to actually create their own scents, right? For perfumes and colognes. And so we're really excited to have her on today. And I see that she's actually requesting to go on live. So let me just accept. And we'll just wait for her to connect. Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Happy to have you on today.
I'm happy to be here.
Definitely. So just starting off, I was just giving people a little bit of background onto like who you are and like what you do, but obviously nobody can do it better than you. So can you tell the people who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Chevalier, and it's actually French. It's the French word for knight, like knight in shining armor. I always tell people that how I'm not a knight, however, but I am a night owl. So there's a little bit of play on words there. So my
Okay.
parents they had something right with that name. I am a Texan, born and raised in East Texas, where I currently reside after a 14, 15-year stay in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which I loved it. But as life would have it, I became a mother of twins. And as they say, in different cultures, it takes a village to raise a child. And I found that to be very true. And it resonated with me, especially during my twins' younger years. They're almost 6 now, which is a blessing because now they're pretty self-sufficient to an extent. Um, but I lived in Dallas and then I came back to East Texas. And although it was challenging, it was actually one of the best decisions that I could have made because still allows me to get help with the boys. They're homeschooled. So I'm able to be here in my office during what would be normal business hours. I was a teacher previously. I taught in the elementary school system, public school system since 2006. And last year I chunked the deuces for good to pursue Pink Mahogany full time. So that's my backstory in short as far as who I am and where I'm from.
Awesome. I see we have people coming in too, and we have Derek saying it indeed takes a village. So
Yes.
I bet you can really attest to that from all those years of teaching, right?
Oh yes. And it's one thing, I know with the pandemic right now, with the way the climate is just in general, I taught other people's children and it was fine. I had challenges, but it was like, every 45 minutes I had a different grade level. I was music, elementary music. So
Mm,
every 45 minutes, with the exception of lunch and recess for the kids, I had a different age group. But when you're teaching your own, when you are homeschooling your own, and I have boys, and those of you parents in the comments, if you have boys, you know what I'm talking about. My boys, it's a challenge. I have to separate them. I have to be quick on my feet. It's like, okay, we're writing today. They don't like to write. And then I'm talking to other parents of boys, and they're like, oh, my son, he hates writing. So it's got to, you have to really be innovative, and I wear many, many hats. But like I said, the village allows me to breathe, because sometimes if I'm
Hmm.
not working, I just need to breathe, just to exhale, even if it's just for 5 minutes or 60
Hmm.
seconds. I need that time as a mother and as a business owner. So it's important. Yeah, it definitely takes a village.
Definitely. I mean, that sounds like entrepreneurship to me, like being quick on your feet, having to be innovative, sometimes disciplining your customers. I know we don't discipline
Right,
customers, but
right,
you know.
right.
Great.
Exactly. And I mean, it's not for the faint of heart, because in my field in perfumery, no 2 days are the same. Like right
Mm,
now, I'm working on projects, which would include formulating personalized scents in different variations, different forms for either small business owners as myself, but that make candles, or larger businesses that are well established, and they commission me as a perfumer to create scents for
mm,
their brand or for their company or organization. So no 2 days are ever the same. So it really does take dedication, just like, being a parent, or, a business is a baby. So even if you're not a physical parent of children, if you are an entrepreneur, then you are taking care of a baby. That baby has to grow, it has to be fed, you have to nurture it, you have to spend time with it to learn it. And you might mess up along the way, but at least you learn from that, and grow, and also get a village in the business world, people that can
mhm.
help pour into you and sow into you, and aren't selfish with the information. Yes, we have to have discretion, but it's about sharing, and each one teach one, because we're all given a set of gifts and talents, and we shouldn't hoard those, thinking that if we share a little bit of information to help someone, then they're going to take it and we're not going to be successful. That's not how it works. So we really have to pour into other people as entrepreneurs, even if it's just a small seed, because every seed sprouts and grows in its own right, in its own way. Excuse me.
Definitely. So a lot of gems in there, and I definitely want to unpack some of the themes. I'm taking my notes, so I know you're a teacher, so that probably makes you happy. But a lot of gems to unpack there. I do want to take it just a step back, just to like understand exactly like how did you get involved in Pink Mahogany? Like, what was your start?
As a lot of people who wear fragrance, they started early on. I can remember as early as probably third grade, I
Mm,
was wearing perfume. I may have been one of the only girls wearing perfume, but that was just my thing. Fragrance has always been a very integral part of my life and my journey. I have so many memories attached to fragrance. I was raised in a very rural area,
mm,
where I had a lot of space. We had a pond out back. There were berry bushes that my aunts and uncles would pick from. And then we didn't have to worry about things like pesticides and, can we eat that? Is it poisonous? We just picked it and ate it. And it allowed me to really hone my sense of smell, because you knew when those berries were going to bloom, because you could smell them. And, the smell of the pond, of the water. East Texas is known, especially where I'm from, for pine needles, pine trees, pine cones. So a lot of that I don't want to say mossy, but more of a nature type
mm.
scent. So I tied a lot of my, or tie a lot of my experiences to scent. So those are my early years. When my mom would give me half empty bottles of her perfume, or she would buy me the miniatures when we would go to a spot here called Drug Emporium, which is still in business, even after 30 plus years. I'm telling my age. But I always wore fragrance. I always liked to evaluate how things smelled at different times, especially nature, leaves, soil, rain. And being outside a lot in a rural area kind of allowed me that experience to really take note of nature. So that's how it kind of started for me. Fast forward to me learning about that there are actual manufacturers of fragrances, and I delved into that. This was probably around 2000, between 2006 and 2008. And I was like, how come I can't see? How come they never show the faces of, are there people that make these fragrances? I was ignorant to a lot of the things that I know now. And it just led me down a rabbit hole of researching. And I'm like, how come where are the people? I didn't even know what they were called. I'm like, where are the people? Are they robots? Who's making these fragrances? It has to be made by somebody. I thought it was a chemist. So I was like, okay, so I have to take chemistry if I ever want to delve into fragrance. I don't like chemistry. That's out. So I had already kind of limited myself in that regard. And then my sister-in-law told me about a company called Lucky Scent. I'm gonna put them out there because they're excellent. And I started sampling, started purchasing samples. They were one of the first websites that I came across that actually gave a description of the perfumer. And I was mind blown. And I was like, what? I knew the names. I was learning the names of the perfumers that were actually making the fragrances. And like, oh, okay, so it's a step-by-step process. Wow. So I would spend hours. I was still teaching. I would spend hours and hours on Lucky Scent reading about these different perfumers. What was their inspiration? It's just a short blurb, but it was enough to hook me. So once I started learning about perfumers, I started Googling the perfumers' names. And then around this time, LinkedIn was starting to become pretty hot. So I would get on LinkedIn and just start adding, adding these perfumers. Some of them would accept, some of them would not. They didn't know who I was. So, but I was like, if I can get at least 5 or 6, I can learn and do more research on them and connect. So like I said, it was a rabbit hole, and I just kept researching and kept reading. And I was like, you know what? Along this time, I was also researching and reading about different notes in fragrances. And that led me to conversations with people where they were talking about, oh no, it makes my head hurt. I can't wear fragrance. I'm very sensitive to it. And I was like, man, I wonder why. I wonder why these people are sensitive. And then I started developing a sensitivity. So that was more inspiration for me to want to figure out, okay, now that it's affecting home, I've got to figure out why. So I started reading and researching again late at night. And one of the ingredients that I found that was a possible culprit, and I say strong possible because there are stories tied to it, but I can't make any medical claims. So a strong possible link between carcinogens and phthalates. So, I was in a very small apartment, 1.5. I say 1.5 because one of the bedrooms was really small apartment. And I was trying to get rid of a smell from my upstairs neighbors. I was on the first floor. They would cook very fragrant meals. And I would get home from work from teaching, and I was like, man, it would smell like I had been cooking. And I was like, I have to get something to get this smell out. So I bought plug-ins, and because the spray wasn't getting it. So I bought plug-ins, and I would just crank that thing on max for the whole time I was gone teaching. I would come back, and within moments, I would just start coughing. I'm like, man, that whatever they use, I've never tied my symptoms to scent or to fragrance. How could it be fragrance and scent, something that I love? So I bypassed that, still left it on the maximum scent level. So the whole apartment was just very fragrant, but I was coughing, and I don't have asthma, but I was having asthma-like symptoms. So one day I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just unplug this and just see if it helps. I don't even know if there is any tie or any link. Within moments, I would say about 10 minutes, because I coughed a good 30 to 45 minutes, and it was bad. As soon as I unplugged that, and I just kind of threw it in the drawer, within about 10 to 15 minutes, my cough subsided, my eyes stopped watering, I stopped sneezing, I stopped wheezing, because I thought I was going to have to go to the doctor, because I had like this very heaviness in my chest where I really couldn't breathe. So I said, okay, something is in this plug-in. What is in that plug-in? Sure enough, it was phthalates. And phthalates, which it sounds like it's TH, but it's PHTH, I'm sorry. Phthalates are, for lack of a lengthy scientific term, they are an ingredient that is used for extending the life of a scent. So you can get more out of the scent selling it for less, basically using cheaper ingredients, because it makes the smell pungent and it makes it last longer. So naturally, if you wear fragrance, that's what we want. But there are side effects, as I experienced. So I was able to take that back to those conversations that I had and said, hey, would you be interested in sampling some perfumes, after I create them? I hadn't created anything, but I just wanted to see what the interest would be. Would you be interested in sampling? And let me know if you have any issues with headaches or any adverse reactions. And I tried it on my friends. One of my, actually, she's my god aunt. She has horrible migraines, and I was so scared. And she ended up asking for a room spray. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Because I didn't want it to bother her, but I created the room spray for her, and she had no issues with it. So I was like, okay, I'm on to something. So the samples led to me kind of pushing the brand and having my samples available at different events in the DFW area. Some of them celebrity events, which was very, for me, that was a big milestone being such a new brand. But people loved the scents and they were like, oh my gosh, I don't have any of those symptoms. Not that I was making everything 100% natural, because I was using mixed media and I never lied about that. I always told them, you know, it's not 100% essential oil based. I need something that's going to make it a little bit stronger without the phthalates. So I had to really figure out, how can I make this work? And from there, the brand grew. And I don't like to use the term "the rest is history," because it has definitely been a journey and a process of packaging and rebranding and trying to make it aesthetically pleasing to other people without it being mass pleasing, if that makes sense. I still wanted to maintain the exclusivity between myself and the consumer. So long story short, that's what led me to want to not use phthalates. And it hasn't been easy. I do not say that you're going to have a fragrance that is 100% free of phthalates unless it is lab tested, which I'm in the process of doing that. But until that time, I feel like it's my due diligence to at least read what's called the SDS, the safety data sheet. Read that in its entirety. And if I have questions, reach out to the supplier, to the company, and say, hey, do you use phthalates in your fragrances? Especially when I'm dealing with candle clients, because that's something that's burning. And that can cause upper respiratory issues with people that are sensitive, and they may not know that. They just love candles. So there's a lot of research involved. There's a lot of dedication and transparency that goes along with that. But fortunately, I found companies, these larger companies have started realizing that, okay, phthalates are not the best way to extend the life of a fragrance. So fortunately, years later, I've partnered with a company that provides a natural resource for me to use for my candle clients. I don't reveal it because that's part of my trade secret.
Secret sauce.
But yeah. But so they're beta testing it right now in their candles, and it is environmentally safe. It is not a carcinogen, and it is produced from nature. So that is a huge breakthrough in the industry, but not a lot of companies, I think, are using it or taking advantage of it, because they want to cut costs and increase the profit margin. Well, on my end, I want to increase rapport. And in that increase in rapport, that profit margin will also increase. So it's a lot about integrity and just a person's personal convictions. I don't knock any company that uses phthalates. However, my convictions say don't use that. So I don't. And my customers and clients love that. So that's what led me down the rabbit hole to be where I am right now in fragrance.
Right. You hear that, viewers? So if you want a perfume that doesn't use phthalates, that's all messing up with your sinuses, making you sick and whatnot, go out to Pink Mahogany. But sorry. But great, a lot to unpack there. So essentially, because we gotta make this a teachable moment. Like what I heard just throughout your entire journey is like, one, you had like this skill set that you really developed as a child, throughout like developing your scent, being in like a rural area, and then once you found out about the industry and you found it is a space where you can possibly invest in and like create your own scents, you took the initiative. You was reaching out to people on LinkedIn back when LinkedIn was solely for networking and not, content like it is now. You took the time to like go out into the marketplace, create a product, meet with customers, test out with them, and you identify like a real need, right? Like phthalates, they're great in terms of extending the life of a fragrance, but unfortunately it has some adverse effect to a subset of the population. So here you are creating this solution that is using a natural resource, which, we can't say because you got that patent on it.
Right.
And, and it sounds like it's going great for you. So overall, like really great, a great way in which you're like taking an old approach to the industry. I know like another thing I want to highlight is that's not like the only way in which like you're pretty unique when it comes to Pink Mahogany, right? Like I know when it comes to things such as packaging or just who you are and like how you operate, there's like those subtle differences that you use. So can you like talk more about that?
Sure. In the actual way that I formulate or create, I'm a musician by trade and by gift. So I think in terms of music when I create a lot of the time. And although I don't necessarily focus heavily on top, middle, and bass notes, because if you wear fragrance or you do any type of research, you notice that there are more than just top, middle, and base notes. There are some that can be interchangeable. So, but I do like to kind of sit down and think in terms of, what do I want to be dominant? Do I want anything to be dominant, or do I just want this to be a linear fragrance where everything is pretty much equal? And you're like, okay, I think I smell this, but I'm not really sure. Nothing is dominant. So there are many different ways that I approach as far as the scent is concerned, but I do think in terms of musicality, and that's just my musical background. As far as the packaging, because my twin sons are really, we use the term African American so loosely, but they really are African American. Their father is Congolese. He's from Central Africa. And I wanted a way to pay homage to their grandparents. And the best way, because they've never met. So they are able to video chat, thank God for technology, and we're able to FaceTime and WhatsApp and text and, you know, all of those things. But it's still not like that human interaction, especially during this time that we're in. But I wanted a way to pay homage to them. And I've always been fascinated by the African culture, even long before I had children. And a way for me to pay my respect to them, to my parents in love, to my boys' grandparents, was to incorporate African fabric. Sometimes African wax fabric, sometimes just regular African fabric. But I wanted it to be authentic. The challenge was, my mother-in-law is a seamstress as well. And the shipping times for her to ship things to me was so long that I wasn't able to wait. So I had her to actually send me some pictures of fabric that she liked. So she sent me photos of the fabric that she liked, and I was able to find a supplier, an authentic African supplier, and purchase from them. So everything about the packaging has a meaning. I tried to bridge the gap between eco-luxe, eco-friendly, and luxury, because I still want you to have that personalized feel. Even if you're not purchasing a bespoke from me, I want you to feel connected. So I'm very particular about the fabrics that I choose. I try to choose colors that match the way the fragrance smells to me. So just as an example, there are 6 fragrances in the collection. Pas Encore Nommé, which I'll start with, is on the more feminine side. It's very sweet, very fruity. It's centered around pineapple and vanilla. So if you can put those two together, you know it's very, very sweet. However, men love it. So I know. So I wanted to, but in my mind, when I think of Pas Encore Nommé, I thought of pinks and purples, a little bit of blue and green. So I found fabric that represents that. So when you purchase Pas Encore Nommé, unless my supplier is not able to procure that particular fabric, the fabrics are going to be connected to, for lack of a better analogy, to the fragrance. So that when you open it up and you see browns and you're like, okay, this is kind of masculine, or it's going to have some type of woodsy notes, or, you know, I wanted it to be a full experience. So that's the reason why I chose the African wax fabric. I also use recycled craft paper tubes, which are still a luxury feel. The labels that I use are faux wood, because pink mahogany, I love mahogany wood. Wood labels, of course, were not going to be feasible, especially trying to adhere them to the glass. So I needed something that was going to be pliable. So I have a supplier in Dallas that helps me with that. They actually produce them for me. And so it's a whole experience, the browns, the natural colors, and then the pop of color with the African wax fabric. So that's why I chose that particular route. And just the way that I package everything, I recycle. I get bubble wrap all the time from other orders, supply orders. So I always try to recycle that and be environmentally friendly on my end, not just with the brand, but just personally. So.
All right, great. That's really awesome.
Thank
And I guess one more question for you before, because I saw someone popped in a few questions, and we do want to have some time for Q&A,
Okay.
is essentially, you know, just plug yourself. Like, where can people learn more about you? Where can they like purchase your fragrances? Do you have any deals coming up for Valentine's Day, fellas? Don't wait last minute.
Right. I sent you the code, didn't I? Or the link
Yeah.
with the code. For those of you that are watching, or that you share this live or plug me, you can find me PM_fragrances. The link to my Etsy, because it can be a little bit long due to the spelling of Pink Mahogany, is in my bio, along with my personal Instagram page, which is private only because I do post pictures of my family, and we have to have some type of privacy. As oxymoronic as that sounds, being on social media, but everything that you need, you can find it there. I also have a link tree that I think is in one of the bios, where you can find a list of all of the features that I have been in to date. I am a member of the Fragrance Foundation, which has been a huge compliment, with an E, to my business. And we have some great things in the works that is going to allow me to educate people, being a woman of color in this field, which I am a double minority. But all of my social media information you can find on PM_fragrances. And I do believe that somebody actually put it in the chat. So thank you all, or for whoever did that. I think I saw it come through. What else were you asking me to?
Yeah, any upcoming deals?
Oh, upcoming deals. I always offer, I'm always offering something. Whoever I partner with, I always offer some type of special. So for the special today, it is 14% off. No, I'm sorry, not 14% off. What did I can't remember, because I've done several since you and I spoke, and I don't want to give them the wrong percentage. But if you can you put that in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna post it afterwards as well.
Okay. But yeah, I honestly y'all don't laugh at me, but I have a lot of things in the fire. I don't have an administrative assistant, so I cannot remember the exact percentage off, but there is a percentage off. We have partnered together, so you will be able to take advantage of that through Valentine's Day. So I always try to take care of the fam. That's what I call you all. If you started following and you received that personal message from me, you are a part of the Pink Mahogany family. You're not followers. I don't like that word, because then that means I'm a leader of some sort, and I don't like that term either. So, but yeah, but I'm going to definitely take care of you all.
Okay. So fellas, don't wait till last minute. The sister's offering you a discount on the Pink Mahogany fragrances that you can get for your lady. Our girlfriend's in the other room. I was going to get her some. So but she'll probably watch the live later and be like, oh, so that's what he was going to do.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Right. But okay, great. So let's go into questions. I see we have one that says, do you have any traditional or modern barbershop style fragrances?
Cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he smells like Rome. Just send one up for your girl, okay? Because Chypre Fragrances and I have a love-hate relationship. So I am trying to master a nice fragrance that is not going to be too older gentleman smelling, if that makes sense. I'm working on, I have over 50 ideas in my notes on this here phone that I'm looking at. So I'm sure that there is something along the lines of that category. Barbershop style, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have some ideas in that category. I can't push all of them, of course, at once, but I will keep you all updated. But I'm definitely working on something in the Chypre category.
Great. So I just posted the coupon code. It is RELINK21, all caps. So fellas and ladies as well, anybody who has a significant other, coming up from Valentine's Day, this can be one of many great gifts that you can give to your loved one.
Right.
So let's see, are there any other questions? I'm just going through the chat. I see comments. One is yes to reuse and packaging materials from suppliers. Yes, sustainability. Something that we care about. We got to protect the planet. Nice personal touch being welcome to the PM family.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, I don't see any other questions. Oh, hold on, let me see. Okay, no other questions. Well, I guess one final question is Pink Mahogany. Like, how did you come up with the name?
Pink and mahogany are actually two of my favorite colors because there are so many different shades. However, my favorite color in the pink category is rose gold. And I knew that I wanted to create fragrances for everybody. I didn't want to be, because I am a woman, I didn't want people to assume, even though they still did early on, assume that I only create fragrances for women. And one common, and I'll make this real real short. One common misconception that I have gotten over the years is that people think that perfume is for women and cologne is for men. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That is just the strength of the perfume or the fragrance to alcohol or whatever carrier is being used. That's the fragrance to alcohol ratio. So a woman can be wearing cologne. It doesn't mean that it's masculine. That's just the strength. You know, cologne or de toilette or de parfum, perfume. That's just how strong it is, the fragrance to alcohol ratio. So I wanted to debunk that myth. But pink, I wanted it to embody more of the feminine aspect of perfumery. And mahogany, I wanted it to embody more of the masculine. So putting those two words together, I wanted to communicate that I create fragrances for both women and men. Now, mahogany is misspelled on purpose with a capitalized H, and that capitalized H just means for her and him. So I wanted, everything to tie in together where people would say, oh, okay, pink mahogany. And, where the man doesn't feel like, well, why is it pink? But it's pink and mahogany. So it bridges those two and lets people know that, hey, it's for you and you. You don't have to, there are blurred lines in perfumery all the time. I'm seeing that with Pas Encore Nommé. I didn't think men were going to like that. Y'all want to walk around smelling like pineapples? Okay, shoot. Okay, then we're going to smell like pineapples, and it smells good on men. And I'm like, wow, it just shows how fragrance is so subjective. But that's the short story as far as how pink mahogany was actually conceived.
Great. And I just learned that cologne and is not specifically for men. I was debating my mom about that the other day. That's funny. So I need to apologize. All right,
and I'm going to probably do another live on that to debunk, just to go through the different strengths of perfume or of fragrance, because people really don't know. And it's, in the fragrance industry, it's like, there's been this stigma to kind of look down on people, this superiority complex. At least that's how I took it, where if you don't know certain things, then, oh, you're not a part of the illustrious fragrance community. But my job, because I'm a teacher at heart, is to debunk the myths, to answer questions, to teach people how to enjoy fragrance to the best of my ability to give information and their ability to receive it. And I just try to break it down in layman's terms where people don't feel like, okay, I don't know how to describe this, so I shouldn't enjoy a nice, luxurious fragrance. No, enjoy it. And if you don't know something, ask me and I'm going to tell you the truth. That's just me.
All right, a few more questions before this live kicks us off. One question was, do you ship to the UK?
I ship internationally. I do. However, I do have to give a disclaimer. I do not set the shipping prices through Etsy. They set the shipping prices. I just put in the country and then it's going to automatically calculate the shipping. I realize it can be quite expensive, but that's the trade-off of international shipping, at least until I grow and I'm able to scale it more where I can offer kind of a streamlined international price. But yes, I do ship internationally. I just had an inquiry from one of my family members, PM family members from Japan. So yes, and I've shipped to Japan and Taiwan. So I know what the shipping costs can be, but yes, the short answer is yes, I do ship internationally.
Great. Cool. And I just pinned the discount code as well, Relink21. So, just use the discount code in order to like help offset the overall costs.
Right.
Okay. I see one question. I believe last year you mentioned oud, and anything this year around that? OUD. I might have not said that correctly.
Oh, no, you did. Having a fragrance with oud, is that what they're asking?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, that is still in my list of fragrances to start formulating for. Like I said, I have so many different ideas, and with projects back to back, I have to really kind of hone in on my time. Otherwise, I will be here 12 to 16 hours a day, and my boys will be highly upset. So once I'm looking really to get assistants and interns in the summer, when a lot of my friends' children will be out for the summer and need something to do. So that's going to help offset a lot of the admin tasks like emails, being able to catch up on that type of stuff. And I can really, really hit it hard and start formulating for the fragrances that I know that you guys want. So I have not forgotten. It's just that I have to prioritize, which that prioritization as a one-woman show can be quite daunting. And that's why I'm transparent, so that you all know I don't forget. I may not say much about it, but I don't forget. Just like I'll be offering real quick on my website here pretty soon, not only education for the Fragrance Fam, but also ways for us to partner together for my unreleased fragrances, because everything that I make, I don't release it. So I want an opportunity to share that with particular individuals, my VIPs. So I'll be rolling that out. And I did an IGTV on it that people were saying they were interested in. I haven't forgotten about that either, but everything is a prioritization. So yeah.
Definitely. That's cool. And last question, and I'll let you go. Um, can you talk a little bit more about what makes your perfume luxury? I know you mentioned using high quality ingredients, but for us layman people, what else will make your brand luxe?
Um, the main thing that makes it luxury, and this is my interpretation, is the experience, the attention to detail, the use of quality materials and ingredients, not just throwing something together. I know we have in our minds, there are different degrees of luxury. That's why I say eco lux, because
Mm,
something can be eco-friendly and it's in very plain packaging. There are no bells and whistles added. Or if you go to the other end of the spectrum and it's on the luxury side, I'm thinking in terms of the Middle East. You got lots of golds, lots of things that are shiny. The bottle itself probably cost, $30 a bottle for that person to purchase, to fill, and then they upcharge and sell it. In my case, what makes Pink Mahogany Eco Luxe is the fact that I bridge that experience of personalization. So even if you are not opening or unboxing a bespoke, you're going to see the attention to detail. You're going to see the etched faux wood label that has been placed on there that I try to place as straight as possible. You're going to see that African wax fabric. So to me, it's the details that make it luxury, and then it's of course the sustainability that makes it eco. So I hope that answered the question.
definitely. So, well, thank you very much for hopping on. Once again, everybody, be sure to follow her on all her social media at PM underscore fragrances. And make sure to use the Relink 21 discount code in order to get your discount for your Valentine gift for your special somebody. Well, thank you once again. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward to connecting again soon.
Yes, I'll be ordering some fabric here pretty soon. I'm getting a little low.
Hey, we definitely got you.
All
All right.
right, all right. And